So, let's talk about the comeback kid of the tech world, a technology that a lot of us, let's be honest, probably wrote off, NFTs. But hold on. Forget the million-dollar digital monkeys and the speculative art. We're diving into something completely different, something way more practical, something that might actually, in a weird way, already be in your wallet.
Oh, you remember, right? It wasn't that long ago. The absolute explosion of digital art collectibles, the frankly dizzying prices. It was a total frenzy. It felt chaotic, it was confusing, and for a lot of people, it just seemed like this massive bubble that had to burst. And, well, it did. But what's rising from the ashes is honestly so much more interesting.
Because what we're seeing now is this massive shift. The whole conversation is changing. We're moving away from that 2021 hype, which was all about speculation, flipping, and volatility, and we're pivoting hard towards actual utility. We're talking less about exclusive, high-priced assets and more about accessible digital keepsakes that have real sentimental value. And one of the biggest companies in the world is quietly leading the charge.
And this is where our main story really kicks in. The brand new American Express Passport. You guys, this is the perfect example of that pivot we were just talking about. Amex is taking a tradition we all know and love, getting that stamp in your passport and giving it a complete 21st century makeover.
This quote right here from an Amex exec, it just nails the why. Think about it. That little ritual of getting your passport stamped is disappearing as more borders go digital. For so many of us, that was a huge part of the experience. Amex saw that emotional gap and realized they could fill it, not with another piece of paper, but with something uniquely digital.
So what is this thing exactly? Well, for you, the user, it is incredibly simple. It's just a new feature that shows up in your Amex app. You go to another country, you buy a coffee with your card, and boom, you automatically get this cool, unique digital stamp for that country. They're basically digital souvenirs, not financial assets.
Okay, so how is this all working in the background? The really clever part, the magic trick here, is how Amex designed this whole thing to be completely seamless. And, this is the most important part, totally invisible to you.
Your part in this is literally just 3 steps. 1, you travel and you use your card. That's it. 2, behind the scenes, a unique digital stamp gets created for you on the blockchain. And 3, it just appears in your Amex app, complete with custom artwork and the details of your visit. That's the whole process. No extra logins, no crypto speak, nothing.
And this points to the key strategy here. Amex is handling all the complicated stuff. They create what's called a custodial wallet for you, which is just a fancy way of saying they manage the tech for you. And they handle all the blockchain stuff. They very deliberately decided not to use the word NFT anywhere because they wanted to focus purely on the experience, not the intimidating tech.
But you know, for those of us who like to peek under the hood, here's what's going on. Technically, yes, these stamps are ERC-721 tokens. That's the classic NFT standard. They built it on a blockchain called Base, which they picked because it's fast and has super low fees. And crucially, your privacy is protected. No personal info is stored on the chain. And get this, as a little bonus, the app automatically goes back and gives you stamps for any travels you did in the last 2 years. How cool is that?
This all brings us to the real core of the strategy. Why go through all this trouble with blockchain just for a digital souvenir? What makes this so fundamentally different from the NFTs that were making headlines a couple of years ago?
Well, it really comes down to this: real, actual human emotion. Amex did a survey and found that a staggering 73% of people want better ways to digitally save their travel memories, and more than half, 56%, specifically said they miss getting physical passport stamps. So you see, this isn't some tech solution looking for a problem. It's a direct response to a feeling, a sense of nostalgia that people really have.
I absolutely love this quote. It just perfectly captures the goal. Indelible ink. They're using the permanence of blockchain, the fact that it can't be changed, to create a digital version of that permanent ink stamp. It's about creating a lasting, unchangeable record of your personal history.
And to make sure this stayed about memory and not money, Amex had to break the 2 biggest unwritten rules of the old NFT world. Rule number 1, these stamps are completely non-transferable. You can't sell them, you can't trade them, you can't give them away. They are yours and yours alone. And rule number 2, because of that, they have 0 monetary worth. Their value is 100% personal and sentimental. This isn't an investment, it's a memory.
So let's zoom out. What does this one little feature from Amex really signal for the rest of the industry? Is this just a fun, one-off gimmick? Or are we actually getting a glimpse of a much bigger trend on the horizon?
Well, if you look at the initial numbers, it's definitely looking like more than a gimmick. In just the first few weeks, over 20,000 of these digital stamps were distributed. That shows that people aren't just curious, they're actively engaging with this. It proves there's a real appetite for this kind of practical, emotional utility.
And Amex isn't operating in a vacuum here. This is all part of a much quieter, more practical blockchain revolution that's been happening in the background. Lufthansa has an NFT-based loyalty program. South Korea has looked into NFT tickets. Heck, even the US government is using blockchain to publish economic data. We're seeing major organizations use this tech for security and permanence, not just speculation.
At the end of the day, what makes the Amex project so significant is the sheer scale of it all. By embedding this technology invisibly into an app that millions of people already have and use every single day, Amex is doing something huge. They're normalizing on-chain experiences for a massive audience, basically teaching millions of people to use blockchain without them even knowing it.
And that really leaves us with a final, big question to ponder. Maybe the true path to mass adoption for blockchain isn't about getting everyone to understand crypto wallets and gas fees. Maybe, just maybe, the future of blockchain is a technology that's so perfectly woven into the apps and services we already love that we never even have to think about it at all.